we field a ton of questions about watering. Like, you just installed new plant material, how much should I water them? Or, sod was just installed, how much should I water that? Or most of all, how much should I program my irrigation controller to water my yard? By watching this video, we will answer those very questions. In addition, we will guide you to help your new landscape survive and for it to thrive long term. Please note, because this video is a bit longer, we have time-stamped sections so that you can jump right to what pertains to you. In this video, we'll cover 3 key areas. First, new plant watering recommendations. Second, lawn renovation watering recommendations. Third, turf irrigation setup recommendations. New plant watering recommendations. So you have some newly installed landscaping and you want to know how to water it. Well, in this video, we're going to tackle the what, the when, the where, the why, and the how much watering you should be doing on your new plants. Why to water your new plants. Watering your new plants is the best thing to help them get established. New plants do not yet have significant root systems to sustain themselves. The idea is to water regularly that the roots will grow deeper into the soil, eventually providing enough root structure to be self-sustaining in all but extreme drought. When to water. These general watering guidelines mainly apply to plants installed between March and November. Plants installed in the dormant season still may need water and attention, but not at the same levels. Use your best judgment. In the first and second week after planting, water plants daily. Just planted roots will be able to absorb soil moisture from only a small area until they begin to grow. Water in the early morning preferably, or late afternoon. Do not water in the middle of the day as it is too hot, or early evening as plants need to dry off before nightfall to avoid mildew and other complications. Your judgment must enter in. If it rains an inch, then you can maybe skip a day. In weeks 3 and 4 after your installation, unless the weather is extremely hot and dry, you should be able to decrease watering frequency to 3 to 4 times per week. Your judgment must enter in. If it rains an inch, then you may be able to skip a day or two. 5 to 6 weeks after installation, unless the weather is extremely hot, 85 degrees or higher, and or dry, you should be able to move to every 2 or 3 days of watering of your plant material. Actively monitored plants for underwatering or overwatering. Look for any visual signs of stress, discoloration of leaves, wilted leaves, insects, fungal concerns, etc. that may need to be addressed. As for your ongoing water requirements as the year progresses, we encourage you to do a weekly walk/water to review the health of your plants and always keep an eye for extremes in the weather and adjust your schedule accordingly. Where to water your newly installed plants. Apply water directly over the root ball. Be sure to keep the backfilled soil in the planting hole moist. This encourages the roots to expand beyond the root ball and into the backfilled soil. Tree roots grow approximately 18 inches per year, so expand the area being watered over time. Use slow trickle water to allow water to slowly infiltrate into and around the root ball. How much should you be watering? To water thoroughly, the water must be absorbed by the soil very slowly. The hose should be laid next to each plant without the nozzle, or use a small rain nozzle from the hose while you tend to each plant. Perennials, grasses, ground covers, and vines, maybe 2 to 3 minutes. When watering newly planted trees, apply 1 to 1.5 gallons per inch of the stem caliber at each watering. When watering new planted shrubs, apply a volume of water that is 1/4 to 1/3 the volume of the container that the shrub was purchased in. As roots grow and spread, irrigation volume will need to be increased. What to check on your newly installed plants. 90% of plant death in the first year is water related. This could be underwatering or overwatering. It is important to check the soil next to your plant regularly to get a sense of the soil moisture level. Checking soil moisture could be as simple as pushing your fingers into the soil next to the small plant, just outside the container rootstock, to using a shovel to open up the soil to see the soil status next to a larger tree or shrub. You do not want your newly installed plants sitting in a pool of water. This will lead to decline of the plant health and possible death. Lawn renovation recommendations, i.e. sodding and reseeding. After aeration overseeding or seeding to establish a new yard, The overall goal is to keep the seed moist during the entire process. For the first 10 days after aerating and overseeding or seeding in general, you need to be watering 3 times a day. We suggest 8 a.m., noon, and 3 p.m. And you should be watering at least 5 minutes per zone. When sodding, we recommend a little bit more water than when you are seeding, with the overall goal to keep the sod sloppy wet for 2 weeks. From your sod installation day to 7 days out, we recommend watering 3 times during the day, 8 a.m., noon, and 4 p.m. Turf rotor hedge zones should be running 20 minutes per time, and turf spray head zones should be running 10 minutes. From day 8 to day 14 after installation, water every other day in the morning, midnight to 8 a.m. for roughly 30 minutes per zone. And at day 15, resume normal watering schedule. Some key notes. These are general guidelines for the growing season. If sod is installed while dormant, no need for water. Or spring and fall, the watering requirements may be different. Turf irrigation setup recommendations. When setting up your irrigation for an established lawn, there are some general guidelines that we tend to follow. The biggest being deep and infrequent watering versus the set it and forget it and water all the time. When you should set up your irrigation system. The best way to water is to program your irrigation system to have finished all of its watering for the day by 9 a.m. Irrigation should only be used when seasonal conditions, heat stress, or drought dictate. Watering too much often sets your turf plants up for failure when stressful conditions arise in the heat of the summer. We would not suggest even thinking about using your system outside of May to October, where you should be watering. Please be aware that every part of your yard does not have the same watering requirements. Shaded areas may need less water, and full sun areas may show signs of stress sooner. Adjust your zones as much as possible to accommodate for these differences. How much should you be watering? The goal is to moisten the soil to a depth of 4 to 5 inches. Most fescue lawns require 1 to 1.5 inches of water per week, either from irrigation or rain. How often should you be watering? We recommend twice a week, max. If you're constantly watering your lawn to a depth of 1 to 2 inches, then the plant sees no reason to grow long, healthy roots that can find water. Deep, infrequent waterings encourages the roots to grow deep and utilize water throughout the entire soil profile. These long roots will be key for making it through the hot, humid summers. Watering all the living things in your landscape is not a set it and forget it activity. You need to be an active participant in ensuring that your landscape stays alive. If any questions arise, please feel free to reach out and we would love to help you. Thank you again and enjoy your plants.